I am telling you, brother, I thank you that we sold our properties in LA because the prices of homes are going down. I could easily get that house, no problem, for $1 million across the street from me. But I have to dump in over $250,000 in just just to beautify the place, get it licensed, and then you have to wait about a year, keep paying the mortgage for that $1 million, and then don't get a client.
When you're thinking of buying or selling a home, call Leo Bato and Associates, LA's premier real estate professionals. They have years of experience in real estate, showing honesty and integrity in every transaction. They are a team you can definitely trust. So make your move today by calling Leo Bato and Associates at 818-648-4837 or visiting them at leobatoassociates.com. Leo Bato, ang realtor na patok.
Coming to you from the One Podcast Studio in Hollywood, California, this is the PARE Podcast. And now here's your host, Mr. Leo Bato.
Very exciting. Welcome to PARE Podcast for another episode here in Los Angeles. Pinoy American Real Estate Podcast. We're gonna talk about real estate, real stories, and real inspiration ng ating mga kababayan dito sa Amerika. And we're glad nag-set kami ng schedule na reschedule to, and then finally nandito na yung one of our exciting guests, si Miss Diorena Rocky Vicente.
Well, thank you, Brother Leo. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Miss Rocky, for accepting our invitations and being the guest of this PARE Podcast. Marami tayong may inspire sa story mo. Isa sa mga nag-inspire din sa akin. So, saan ba nagmula ang mga pamilya ni Miss Rocky?
Well, I was born sa Calatrava, Negros Occidental. So we are Ilonggo. Then along the way, about when I turned 3 or 4, napadpad kami sa La Union because my father was working at Felix Mining Corporation, which is a mining company. So doon kami lumaki. And I was 3 or 4 years old. And I grew up there. I studied there. And that's
sa La Union. Kaya pala naririnig kitang mag-Ilonggo. At the same time, naririnig din kitang mag-Ilocano.
Yes.
Kabsat ka.
Yeah, Kabsat is Ilocano.
I remember that Kabsat because I have my friend who always mentioned that. Miss Rocky, bakit Miss Rocky? Di ba ang pangalan mo is Diorena? Bakit naging Rocky?
Okay, I came here alone in 1982 and I was married to a guy whose last name is Rock.
I see.
So my official name is Diorena Rock. And when I used to work in TV animation for many years, everybody was calling me Rock, Rocky Rock, Rocky Raccoon, Rocky Balboa, but Rocky is really my name.
Alam mo, sa totoo lang, nung una kitang nakilala is, na-curious din ako dahil unang-una pangalan ng male, then I'm talking to the female, right? So, you mentioned about animation.
Yeah.
Yun ba yung start doon ka ba nag-start, doon ka ba nagmula sa animation dito sa Amerika?
Yes, I was working at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Wow, KFC.
What an amazing job, because in that type of business, you meet all kinds of important people that loves to eat original Kentucky Fried Chicken. So, back in 1982, I was making $3.25 an hour.
Wow.
Okay. And I still managed to send money to the Philippines, and then I have to petition my family. I was 18 years old back then, 18 years old. So I would meet people like from the studio, nurses, but this one chick, she's HR for Lockheed. And I wanted to go work for Lockheed because she would come and order like a tray of big chicken. So I said, what is this for? Why are you coming here like once or twice a month and order these big tray of chicken? Oh, she says, I'm HR. And we do a meeting like once a week. And she would always wants to come out there and pay me in advance so she could get this fresh chicken. So I befriended her. And she said, if you're going to go work for us, all you have to do is learn these office procedures, and when you type, you will never starve. I said, okay, and what do I need to do? You have to go and learn all these skills. I said, okay. So I did.
And this is what company?
This is Lockheed.
Oh.
Lockheed in Burbank. They were huge, okay? They have like contracts with the government making airplanes, and their starting rate is about $11 or $12 an hour. So I said, oh, good, $325. My goodness, I can make like $11 or $12. All I got to do is do these skills. So anyways, I went to go to a technical school to learn these skills. It'll take me about a year to get all these skills. So that's when I went to a school called Catherine College in Burbank. So that's where I got started. Anyways, so my eye was going to work for Lockheed. And then 3 months after being a full-time student over there, I became a grader for the teachers. But I have one mentor who is, I call her my second mother because she kind of adapted me. She's very good in English, and she taught me a lot, even more. Anyways, I was working over there. Then the next thing you know, after 6 months, I became the assistant to the evening principal. And then IBM Wang computer came out that year, and we have to learn how to operate IBM Wang computer. And that school got IBM Wang, and they're expensive. So I was the very first students they taught and say, you learn these skills, you learn these skills. Guess what? I learned it, I mastered it. And then one day, a talent scout was at our school from the studio. And they said, hey, we're looking for your top-notch student who is good in English, who can operate the Wang computer and have a good command of English, verbally and in writing. And guess what? The school sent me.
Wow.
Okay. So I said, okay, I don't know what's going on, but the school said, oh, you got to go over there because you're the one who's like qualified to go, because, you know, I topped all the classes and stuff. So I enjoyed it really. So I went there. I applied. My last name is Rock. So I applied, and then they did not call me until 3 weeks later because they went from A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh.
So when they finally got to me, they said, oh, so you trained at Catherine College? I said, yes, ma'am, because I was going to go work for Lockheed. Oh, and then so they went through my resume. And by the way, I went to school, so my resume looked really good. And also my background is attending Christ the King College in the Philippines. No, Christ the King College, if you're not familiar with it, it's the same school where Jessica Soho attended.
So you're alumni.
Yeah. So Jessica Soho is 1 year older than me. So in other words, she graduated 1 year before me, but we attended the same school and the same parish church at Poro Point, San Fernando, La Union. So this is where I came from. It's really a private college.
By the way, si Jessica Soho nga pala, mga kababayan, yun yung ating mga famous journalists sa Pilipinas, and one of the most highly respected journalists sa Pilipinas.
Okay, yeah. So Jessica Soho, I know her humble beginning. She was always smart, and her brother ever tall. So I remember those days. So anyways, I got interviewed, the first time, and they're very vague about it. You know, we're looking for a proofreader and this and that. Oh, we want somebody who can type. I mean, there was a laundry list of everything that they want on one person. So I said, okay. But then again, I went home. I never heard from them for, 2 or 2.5 weeks. And then the phone rang, and they wanted me to come for a second interview. I went for a second interview. I went for a third interview, and I got to the fourth interview. This time, the fourth interview is just like the top honchos per se. Long story short, I nailed that one. I got the job.
Ito yung
starting ko.
Ito yung sa studio.
This is called Ruby Spears, and Ruby means Joe Ruby. And Spears is Ken Spears.
And sino-sino sila?
Okay.
Ano yung importance
so
nito?
if you follow the history of Scooby-Doo, They're the original creators of the Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo. So,
I watched that. I enjoyed that.
Yes. Yeah. So they were from Hanna-Barbera. Okay.
Scooby-Doo.
So I'm going. Oh my God! I'm going. Oh my God! These are the real guys. I'm going. So I did the fourth interview. So they offered me the position, and then they said, what will I be doing, and this and that, and you will be in the script department, and you will be doing this, and you will be doing that. But basically, it's working with 16 staff writers, story editors, and you have to report to the executive producer. And I have to report to the executive producer who's creative, Joe Ruby, and Ken Spears, who's also a creative person, but he's more on accounting. He keeps tab of all the money. So anyways, I accepted the job. Then I went home and I said, wait a minute. I didn't calculate my gas money from Barham, Cahuenga and Barham, and Burbank, where I lived. It's close, but there's city traffic. So I called there and I said, excuse me, but I know I just accepted the job, but I didn't calculate my gas money. Do you think if I could ask for $25 more, and it's by the week, you get paid a week? Wow. And I said, because you just helped me with the gas money. And they said, okay.
That's
just
it.
like that.
Oh my God.
But by the way, if you get back then a $25 raise, it's calculated by the week. So it's really, it could help.
Yes.
And I'm talking 45 years ago. So that was a chunk of money. Okay. So anyways, as it turned out, I was trying to vie for Lockheed, and at that time the nursing job was only $15 an hour, and my starting was about $18 an hour. So I said, oh my God, so it's better than being a nurse, and I don't have to go to school. So anyways,
kaya pala na-stop, no? Yung pursuan mo to be a nurse, no?
So what happened is I ended up working there, and you get your own. Back then we were all thin and sexy and nice, but one thing with me is I always smiled, and I'm always high, and I always nice. But one person came and said to me, don't do that, Rocky. Don't always do that. I said, why? We're in Hollywood, and don't be doing that in the corner, because then they'll think you're a hooker. I said, what's a hooker? And they have to explain it to me. But anyways, I ended up doing really well in that company, because in less than 2 months, my immediate supervisor walked out of her job. She just, I am so tired of this thing.
Burn out.
Because there was back then, Leo, and I'm so naive about the whole thing, but I catch it. There's a lot of sexual predators back in Hollywood. Okay?
Until now, no? Until now, no?
Yeah, but it's worse back in the 80s.
Wow.
Okay, so for example, my first day of work, there was a famous person, I'm not going to name names, but he came the back door, because we have a front door and a back door in the second floor. And I opened the door because I was in the copy machine, and I opened it, and I hardly know anybody there. And he goes, hey, you new here? Well, you want to, F me. And I just went scared. And I just went,
So existing na pala talaga.
No, darling, especially if you are a new kid in town, you are naive and you're young and you haven't been exposed to this kind of world. And people there are just promiscuous in a lot of ways, because I just found out that you work over there, they're just very certain type of people where they sleep with one another, they're married, and if I can get, I guess you'd say that I've been exposed to a lot of guys in my life, and if I wanted to be a part of that, I can get any guy I want. But that's not where my focus is, which I'm going to talk to you about, is because I have a very good school. My parents raised me well. They were married all their life. I went to a private school, and I surrounded myself with good people in the Philippines. I carried what my mother told me coming here. And working at the studio was great, because in just 2 months, my supervisor walked out. That opened the door for me. We were working on 5 shows, Leo.
5 shows?
5 shows that if you probably remember, Punky Brewster.
Scooby-Doo. What else?
Well, we did we did, I can't even remember that, but Speed Racer, Spider-Man or whatever. And then we have, I get to see Chuck Norris, Mr.
Wow.
T. We have so many shows. I don't even remember what I finished the week before.
So,
but
ilang years ka dito sa entertainment industry?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, I'm never laid off, which is so unusual. Because one thing I learned, Leo, is you hold on to your values. I focus on my work. I don't gossip. Because I know if I work late at night, you see things that you cannot unsee. Like people having sex on their desk, or people doing marijuana or something. I don't even know what that is, because I never had, illicit drugs in my life. But
existing na talaga sa Hollywood.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
everything naman siguro sa entertainment. Same thing with the business of entertainment. I think that's part of the thing. Then 20 years, what happened?
Okay, well, so it opened up when I became like the script coordinator, supervisor, but I did more than that. It just opened up a whole lot of doors. And the golden nugget here that I can share is Leo, I was in a building where there was only one Asian, 18 or 19-year-old, that's me.
Wow. One Asian.
One Asian, and the whole building in Hollywood, the hottest studio in Hollywood in the early 80s. One Asian girl, that's me. Youngest one. Filipino.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then the other one is an Afro-American guy. And the whole community there of workers are all Caucasian. Okay, so this is... They've met Filipinos, but Filipinos are not really kind of popular back then, because I never met any Filipino like me, because I'm not an artist that works in the animation field. But what I'm just gonna share with you is, with my salary back then. Okay, by the way, I had a very good boss, and
you mentioned very generous too, right?
Yeah, very generous. And then the thing with me is, I gotta admit to you, people come and say, hey, they throw their judgments at you, and they say, oh, she's Filipino, she doesn't know much, she just came into the country. And for example, when I first got hired, so many people want my job. They wish they had me fired. but Ken Spears, my boss, he's such an incredible, smart man. They've lost 6 people there. Walang nagtatagal. Come Rocky. And then all these department heads get paid a lot of money. If they have no show, they just hang around there. I get myself busy. I volunteer. I do this and I do that, because I also want to know the other aspects of the industry. Again, you're going in there to learn, because nobody teaches you in school how to do animation or how to be in production of animation.
So, isa ka sa mga Filipino-Americans na break yung barrier na yan.
Yes. Okay, and I was lucky. On the creative part, I then get to work with some people in Hanna-Barbera that are Filipinos.
Wow.
Or some of the most talented Filipino artists are from Liwayway magazine back in the days.
Naalala ko pa yan, Liwayway, Kislap.
Yeah, those are our times, Leah, Anyway, so I met them. Ang problema lang, they're just good artists. And we were in a meeting one time, and the boss said, oh, this is fantastic. How did you guys come up with this BG, like background or this, what we call when you do a prop, you do a character, yung mga ganyan in BG. Anyways, long story short, we have all these Filipinos. They're so creative, Leah. They're so smart. But they lack the gift of gab. Kaya, nagmi-meeting kami. Sasabi ko, sige po, tinatanong kayo ng boss how you came up with this idea. Explain nyo na ho. Then there comes the like this.
Okay.
Hindi maka-explain kasi.
Hindi makapag-express ng articulate.
But they're very talented. So I have to, ano po yung sasabihin nyo so I can tell the boss. Kaya ginaganon ko. Kaya lang, syempre yung boss nadidismaya because he wants to know, you're so talented. You're Filipino, talented, artist. You need to tell me how you came up with it. Anyways, I just help the best I can. But Yeah, I stayed there for 20 years, and one of the things I was successful in doing is with my salary, because I just never give up. I petitioned for my family when I was 19 to 20. I was ready to petition them.
So, going back to the petition, yun yung ugali natin mga Pilipino di ba?
Yes.
Yung, ikaw ba yung unang-una sa pamilyang nagpunta sa Amerika?
Yes, I came by myself.
You came by yourself, 19 years old.
No, 17 to, I was transitioning from 17 to 18.
Wow.
I was raw. I was just young.
Having good salary, and then you break the barrier of Hollywood at the time at
That was huge.
Yeah.
You know, I have one or two people want me fired, and she was at the time, God bless her soul, she is the production manager, and she was close to Ken Spears, and they were talking in the hallway one day. I heard them because, you know, their whispers are kind of loud. So I was turning around the corner to go to the photocopy machine, and then she was saying something, and Ken said, "Oh, no, we ought to keep her. She's dynamite. Did you see her type? She can type with one hand." Now, they were talking about me, okay, because I was a new hire, because that lady wanted her best friend to come, and I'm much younger. Well, we're smart, and I have skills, but she cannot operate the computer. I can. And I'm good I learned from our school, I mastered English, okay? So if you're going to throw me into run-on sentences, comma splices, indirect object, I master that. So that is one of my best assets, is to communicate, to talk in writing and in verbally. And that's
Excellent.
what I mastered. And one thing also that I learned is I love my Filipinos. But one thing I learned is, in order for me to succeed, I have to learn the American way. So I sacrificed not hanging out with Filipinos for 7 years. You know why? I want to learn the American way, because their accent, the whole thing, and also the idiomatic expression. So I really have to record myself on how I talk, because I told my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, she read a ton of books, and I used to say, Toledo, Ohio. Hey, Diorena, it's not Toledo, Ohio. It's Toledo, Ohio. Okay? So I said, oh God, my God. And she's correcting me every day. I said, Mom, I wanted you to teach me that. I am going to master this. And one of the things that I also just listen, you guys, if you want to learn the American way, what I taught myself to do is I take, at the time, the Los Angeles Times, right? And I would take one word that I do not know the meaning. I write it down, I look up the meaning, and then I start using that language or that word. So at the end of 365 days, I have over 300 new words that I've learned.
Wow.
Okay, because see, you have to understand
Go-getter ka talaga.
So okay, so for example, I'll give you a good example, which is so simple. Guys used to call me, "Oh God, Rocky's hot," or "She's hot," and then this other girl said, this other guy would say, "Oh yeah, she's cool." Did you know that means the same thing? Okay, she's hot or she's so cool. Now I've came across this because when we were giving animation jobs sa Philippines, okay, and they have to translate from English to Tagalog or whatever, something gets lost there. So
yung dubbing na tinatawag.
Yeah, right. So for example, at one time we also sent work to Japan. Can you just imagine one of the people translating the gag was this, "Holy cow." So what they did is they have a cow with a halo. Okay, so those kind of stuff you say, okay, you have to have a strong command of English, because that's not what it means to be holy cow. You know, that's just an idiomatic expression. So anyways, that's that. But anyways, what I did was I stayed in the animation business for 20 years because I was discriminated on. I was, sexually, they attempted to do that. But here's what I think. These people just having trouble understanding the Asian community, especially the Filipinos. What I did is I decided to kill them with love, kill them with good work. So when they think
Kill
of
them with kindness.
yes, correct. And would you know it, that when I hear bad things about people talking about me, I just and have the what I hear it and it goes out the other. I don't let them bother me because my one thing is my boss said to me, we don't tolerate, harassment here, but you got to pay attention to me because I sign your check. And boy, did I pay attention to him. And see, Leo, how this works. If you end your show, okay, you work on one show. So different people work on other shows. They have a segment of little departments. Now I'm sharing this with you because I'm just going to show you where my struggle is and how I cope because I have a good foundation as a Filipino, okay? So when your show is over, there's a thing called hiatus. It's spelled Hiatus. It's meaning you get laid off and they're going to do their pitch, and when a show comes in again, you get back again.
Walang regular, no?
Walang
Ganun
regular.
pala
Okay,
talaga.
get this. I was never
Laid off. You
As a-
never went to hiatus.
hiatus. Yeah.
Hiatus.
Because
Okay,
because
thank you.
why? The boss keeps 5 skeletal crew. I'm on top of that list because I'm worth 5 people. How I did it, and I'm not just bragging to you, I'm letting you know I work hard. I work hard because this is a man's world. Okay, you were not trained to do this. Especially, I want to understand the money part of it, funding, how they're getting their territorial. When you're doing animation, the biggest thing is not the animation. You are, your biggest asset is territories. So if you go to Asia, you're big on India, China, Japan, and all that. Asian kids like anime and animation in
But
general.
Scooby-Doo is worldwide.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
But it's the merchandising where they make their money and the territories they occupy. The cartoon is just nothing. But the thing that I've done is if you tell me, oh, Rocky can't do it, because I know, I heard a lot of whispers. Okay, oh yeah, Rocky's too young. She doesn't know what she's doing because she's young. But you know what? I don't let that deter me because I know what I have. And the other thing is, I had a full scholarship in high school and full scholarship in college. I only attended one semester in St. Louis. Then I had to help my mother because we had problems with my dad's health. Long story short, I came to America by myself, and I have a learning curve there for a few months. But I figured out what I'm going to do, and I figured out what I need to do to get there. But I'm telling you that my mom and my dad's raising me, the Catholic Church rearing us, like we have the bell rings like every
Yes,
six o'clock at night. Little discipline like that. We stop and we pray in peace and stuff, and we go to church, this and that. But we also have great teachers in San Fernando, and the friendship that I have with my friends in the Philippines, like we all do, we cherish each other, and we've been friends for over 50 years. All my friends at Christ the King College in San Fernando, La Union, those were founded by Belgian nuns.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a good college, like I said. But ang pagpapalaki, sa akin ng parents ko, and being around that environment, even though we're poor, but we're rich with friends. We're rich, and people help us along the way. But at 8 years old, my mother's Chinese, was part Chinese, and she already taught me how to cook, how to make, how to be charming, and if we need something, akong inuutusan ng mother to say, oh, sabihin mo sa kanya, we have to do this, and we have to pay them on payday kasi we need to eat. So we were literally poor.
So going back to the entertainment, so nag-stop na yon yung flow ng business. When did it slow down? I mean, slow down the business.
So what happened was, I left that studio. I went to another studio, and this one is bigger because I went for the guy who made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles popular. His name is Fred Wolf. I went to work with him, and I learned even more deeper, valuable skills. So, for example, I wanted to know the budget because they're going to Ireland, they're going to Europe, and I do all the letters, okay? And And all they have to do is, okay, Rocky, it's 3:30. You make a letter to so and so and so and so. But the gist of it is, I just want this information, and you just gotta wing it and see what you can do. Imagine that. I have to create a letter for the executives at the studio. But anyways, my long thing is, I felt like giving up. But you know what? I said no, because I have to be uncomfortable to learn, to get out of my comfort zone. So I did that, and when I did that, I learned more. And I got into the inner circles of Fred Wolf and Trudy Hicklin, and I learned
and
a lot.
these are the big guns in the entertainment,
Yeah,
especially in animation.
yeah.
I remember those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Napakalaking nun.
Fred Wolf is so big, and I'm telling you, this guy. Okay, I did not start in Hollywood. Address, but I joined them in Burbank, California. But when they did this, I remembered I was just brand new, but my boss, Fred, took my yearly salary. He gave me 8% of my yearly salary, okay? And he gave me that as a bonus.
Wow.
Okay, because he has so much money, and the guy does profit sharing. And he shuts the studio down from after the 15th of December till the 3rd of January. The studio is out, it's closed, and you're with pay. He's giving you the 8% or whatever percentage. But I said, God, Jesus, wow. So I remembered, if you're good, they're going to keep you and they're going to pay you. So anyway, it's at that time that I was talking about real estate. Okay,
let's mention that real estate. But after the entertainment, paano napunta si RCFE, yung residential care facility?
Okay.
So, yung heydays ng entertainment, 20 years, then when is the transition from this studio to being an operator of the RCFE?
Okay, let me just summarize a little bit of thing. I only work for small companies. I never worked for Warner Brothers. I never worked for Walt Disney. And I never worked for Nickelodeon, because those people do not treat their people correctly. The small mom and pops, those are non-existent anymore, and I was very lucky to work for them. Okay, I was working on a Warner Brothers show, and I was helping a friend of mine here in Agoura Hills. Mm-hmm. Okay, he called me and he said, "Hey, Rock, we're recording tomorrow, and I know SAG." Screen Actors Guild and the because we have to worry about if we're hiring SAG actors and stuff like that. We have to be in compliance with all their demands. Okay, it's complicated, but I already mastered that too. One of the things that I mastered, residual payments, it's what it's called. So he called me and I said, "Hey, Walt, what the hell were you thinking? Why didn't you not call me? You're recording tomorrow and you're asking me to fix this?" So he knows me because I work with him at Fred Wolf, at Ruby Spears. I said, "Okay, let me fix this thing." And I was just really scolding him. And I said, "Oh, shucks." I said, you're doing recording tomorrow. Have you confirmed everything? Have you done this? Have you done this? So I fixed it a little bit, and I couldn't stand to just help him because he needed more help, right? So we did it the following day, and I ended up continuing to work with them. He was working on a project with Warner Brothers called Balloonatics.
But before we move forward, let's have a break for our sponsors. Babalik po kami dito sa PARE Podcast.
When you're thinking of buying or selling a home, call Leo Bato and Associates, LA's premier real estate professionals. They have years of experience in real estate, showing honesty and integrity in every transaction. They are a team you can definitely trust. So make your move today by calling Leo Bato and Associates at 818-648-4837 or visiting them at leobatoassociates.com. Leo Bato, ang realtor na pato.
Let's go back. Here we go. Miss Rocky, kailan natapos yung era ng entertainment? Bakit natapos siya? Because just like cycle to na yan ng entertainment industry sa Hollywood, di ba?
Yeah, okay. What happened was my husband said he wishes we'll have 6 kids. So when my first son was born, he was a huge baby, very healthy baby, and it was a surprise. Okay, so after I had him, and we were trying to get a second baby, I had we've lost so many babies, and one time I thought
Oh, I'm sorry
I
to
was
hear
gonna
that.
die because Josh was huge and it was a natural childbirth. Long story short, I prayed to God and I said, just please get me out of this misery, because I filled the hospital bed twice with blood and I couldn't move, and they were doing, my husband was talking to the nurses and the doctors and all that, but I talked to God and I said, you know what, just get me out of this, please. And I'm sorry, I couldn't, at that time I couldn't keep the baby and it was endangering my health. So I said, if I get out of this mess, I said, I'll drop everything I'm doing and I will serve you and I'll serve the community.
And that is the start.
That is the start. And
Bakit mo naisip na pwede ka naman mag-serve sa community in other form?
No.
What makes you decide to start the boarding care or the residential care facility, or we call it RCFE?
God is really good to me. I prayed about that. But one of my special talent, like when you're doing a show, you have to figure out what voices you're gonna, who's actor you're gonna get to do the voices and whatnot. So I was trying to figure that all out, and I figured out that there's one service industry business that will never go out of style and it'll be on for a long time because there's a big need. And I heard of RCFE because one friend was doing such a lousy job on it. So Michael and I went to check it out, and he said, God, Diorena, if you're considering doing that, I want you to promise me something. You're going to do it. You're going to do it good.
The right
And
way.
you're going to do it in compliance. Because this is a sue-happy business. You will get sued. But if you're going to do this, I'll support you. And at this time, I have no money, Leo. I have no money. I have no seed money. I have no money to buy real estate. This is how I got started. It's because my husband is always saying, yeah, let's get into real estate. Okay, so
When you mention let's go to real estate, you mentioned about buying the house and then
Yeah.
convert them to RCFE. You have your first facility.
So what happened was, in order for you to access the RCFE industry, first, there's a lot of upfront cost. You know, you have to buy the real estate, you have to get it licensed, and you have to do so many, you have to jump through so many hoops to get licensed, okay? But anyways, what I did was, I didn't want to have RCFE in Burbank because they're just so strict over there. And somebody referred me at that time. I didn't know you then. This is a long time ago in 2002. I met another Filipina lady. She said, oh, Rocky, expand your horizon and go to Granada Hills because your money can go a long ways and you get more for your buck. So she helped me. So we found a house that's already existing. Again, only one client, and there's 3 sisters, and they were fighting. They were nurses. It's such a simple house, but when you go inside, it's well.
The good floor plan.
Yeah, the good floor plan. Thank you. It's a horseshoe floor plan. But anyways, they were fighting, and Leo, I did not pay a single amount of business real estate. They just want to get rid of it. So
Just give it to you.
So I just bought the house. Again, what I did was I pre-qualified, and I know what my budget is. I have a budget of under 500,000. So at the time in 2002, and real estate was so high. So anyways, I bought that house.
And because of this business, Miss Rocky, na-petition yung mga kamag-anak mo. Tama ba?
Okay, I petitioned in the beginning, nasa studio ako, I petitioned my mother, my father, and my youngest sister who's under 21. Then later, I petitioned the rest of them who turned 21, 2 brothers, a sister, and a son.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like any other Filipino-American, di ba? Ang objective natin, di ba, once na nakapunta tayo sa Amerika, gusto rin natin i-share yung...
Yes.
So, yung ginawa mo, talaga yung classic example ng mga nauna dito, the petitions their parents, and then their sister and brother, and now they're already here, they have a good
Established.
life, you know, because of you.
Yeah,
you
correct.
know?
I'm first generation to come. But I was really intrigued by the real estate, okay? First of all, I had no money. and I was able to buy real estate. That's just the thing that I said, oh my God. Because what happened was, I guess I wrote my old landlord a note saying, hey, Michael and I are thinking of opening up an assisted living. And I was wondering if you can give me the down payment or the seed money to get started. Because even if you get the down payment for the house, you still need seed money to operate and get license and the whole bit. And
ano yung mga challenges doon, nung mga araw na yun?
okay.
Nung mga panahon pa lang yun?
At that time, it's really hard to get down payment or just to buy a house because it's very traditional where you're at the mercy of the bank. Okay, and but the big down payment is huge, and you have to season your money for 6 months and that sort of thing. You know, we have an understanding of the real estate process because Michael did work for Countrywide for a number of years, so he enlightened me with that, and he taught me. And then what we end up doing is once we learned that process, we acquired another RCF in Granada Hills. Then we bought another house. Then we bought another house. But beauty of it, Leo, is you can acquire real estate without going through the usual channel. Okay, but there's a thing called owner carry. I did that over 20 years ago, and I didn't have any money, so I wrote a friend on a Monday, and I told her I need some money. And I didn't even tell her how much it is because I know she's loaded. So on Wednesday, she came to my house. Diorena, I got your letter, and I tell you, I like you and Michael because you just don't talk about it. You just do it. Now, I'm going to tell you, my money is going to mature in 2 weeks, okay? How much money do you want and when do you need it? You got 1 week to think about it because I just don't want my money to sit. I'm going to lend you some money, but I want 9% interest, and I want to collateralize this Burbank house against my loan. I said, and this is Michael going like this, because I just wrote her on a Monday. She came on a Wednesday, and my mother was listening, and there's Michael saying, oh my God. And then these things are just started happening because you are kind, and they like young people who are like a visionary, and they just do it. Now, I'm not some rich thing, but I'm just a gal from the Philippines that are in this position to own real estate, and nobody taught me anything. It's just
real estate and business.
Yeah, real estate and business.
So how long you been operator of RCFE as of now? You own multiple, but you maintained right now one facility, right?
That's right.
So you sold your property, you gain equity, you sold that, and during those things, you acquire multiple properties because of the RCFE.
Yes, because
and then this really give your income and everything, cash flow.
I sometimes I have to tell my husband, oh my God, this job is so hard, and this and that, and the more I complain about it, I am really blessed. So I have to take my word back and say thank you, God, for all these blessings, because we were making more than, I'm sorry, but what an average nurse does. We were making more than what doctors ever make. I'm just talking about gross, but my point is, it's not even profit, but cash flow is king, because it's this cash flow, Leo, that you also assured me before hooking me up with Fred. Okay, that you can actually, if you're a business owner, you can actually buy a house without showing your real estate documentation. And all you have to do is show your cash flow every month, and boom, you're there, right, Leo? We did that together.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm very excited to interview you, because basically you're an operator for RCFE, you're also an investor, and you own multiple houses. And again, you maintain right now the one RCFE, and you have multiple houses right now. And ano yung mga challenges ngayon? Kasi you see the evolution of the RCFE, right? So ano naman mapapayo mo? What will you say to the young people just like you couple of years back that wants to start an RCFE business?
Well, if you wanted to do an RCFE business, I was just talking to a retired fireman last Sunday, and he wants to have dinner with me and Michael, and he wants to talk about all these things. He's been yearning to have one of these RCFEs. But all I can tell you is, if you want to do the business, always do it right. Do not do something that is non-compliant and against the law, because you don't want to establish a business where your foundation is shaky because somebody can just pull the rug from under you and you're done. Okay? I'm going to tell you to acquire a property. If you have limited budget, acquire a property that that you can, of course, afford, but buy an established business that has a cash flow. And do not buy a property that needs a lot of repair and bad reputation of the former owner per se. But do everything right, especially real estate of the RCF is one thing, and the operation has to be optimal and has to be legal. That's all I'm saying to you. You do not survive 20 years without anybody suing you. They cannot sue you if you didn't do anything wrong. That's all I'm saying to you.
So, thank you for that feedback, Miss Rocky. Just like what you said, do the right thing. That's why you still exist as of now.
That's right.
You know, you keep those one RCFE after you sold another RCFE and another RCFE. And because of this, you acquired this investment, the same time business. One thing is, sa 20 years na yan, you take care, family,
Yes.
friends, or loved ones of other people.
That's right.
That they become your patient, become your resident, become your family. And then Josh, who is Dr. Josh, your son, and Sophia saw that.
Yes.
While they are growing up being compassionate, and I really admire how you handle those residents. You know, I mean, in this business, it's not the money, right? You will survive, but only for few months and years. But you really have the compassion of really to take care of our elderly people.
Yeah, you know, I was telling my kids, you know, these families that you've helped, they become your extended family. So I have a lawyer. I don't trust lawyers with passion. Oh my God. But there's one family that I helped. That he became my lawyer. And I told them before they picked me, I said, I have 67 competitors in Granada Hills. Go look for them and get the facility that resonates with you. Out of 67 places, they picked me. And now he's my very trusted attorney for over 20 years. Wow. Okay, and but what I'm saying to you is just surround yourself. When you're doing this RCFE business, surround yourself with people who you love and respect that are doing the right thing. Because it's easy to fall into the cracks and get lost if you are just aiming for money, because that's not what it is. Along the way, you meet some quality doctors, you know, case managers, quality family, and you build on that, because money follows if you love what you do and people see that you do it well. Just like you, Leo, you're an incredible realtor.
Well,
people are always gravitating to you, like I gravitate to you because you're a man with ethics. I mean, there's a lot of realtor rather. And I say, nope, I'm sticking with Leo. I'm sticking with Leo, and I'm sticking with Fred. You already, we did so many transactions together, and you really got my style. But so I admire something like that, and I just surround myself with like that, and you just cannot go wrong. And so, again, whatever business you guys are trying to do, be yourself, be your honest self, and do not stray, and meaning doing bad things under the table. You're not paying, your staff well, things like that, because this is how you're going to grow. And RCF is one of the best business, I feel, because you buy a real estate, right? You own your own building, right? And then you own your own business. You are not renting from somebody, you are renting from yourself.
Knowing you, Rocky, for multiple years already and we have multiple transactions. One thing that I notice is yung hands-on mo
Yes.
in taking care of the resident.
Yes, thank
and
you.
then connecting with the case manager, the doctors, you know them by name.
Yes.
You know your residents by heart. You wake them up, you feed them, you entertain them, you take care of them, you watch their ADLs, activity of daily living, and you're doing it happily. That's why I said, you know what? That's why you survive.
Yes.
Because it's not about the money, it's the
Yes.
love. But one thing that you teach me also is I observe taking care of your mom,
That's right.
right? Is this one of the inspiration of the RCFE?
Yes. Leo, the reason why I kept I told you I'm exiting the business just because I wanted to
You
teach.
almost exit the
Yeah,
business.
I almost exited, but something happened. Of course, at the beginning of the year, Michael got into a motorcycle accident. I had to nurse him. And then at the same time, my mother is also showing signs that I need to take care of her. So at the moment, I will be bringing mother home before Thanksgiving. She's at the nursing home right now. She fell at the nursing home, but I said I give better care for my mom. So anyways, I know that we were in the middle of escrow and 60 days passed and stuff, and I pulled the transaction out. But there was a good reason for that. I just know that I really like that gal, that we dealt with.
Yeah.
And I will be dealing with her in the future because there's so much business to do and there's more opportunities in the RCFE business, not only in the RCFE business, but oh my God, there's so many. Housing for the elderly is here to stay. And if you have a real estate to just back you up, by the way, you can go a long way.
So the idea is buy the real estate at the same time buy the business so that you have
Yes.
both equity building, right? The real estate building and also you're building
Correct.
the business at the same time.
I suggest that for people who are starting this business and wanted to really prosper. If you have enough money to get a brand new house and customize everything, but that's financial suicide just because you're trying to get into this business to make money. Now, if you're going to dump in a lot of money in the beginning, it can be feasible, but really it's what we need because we need a high-end RCFE. But to put all that money, it's a lot. And
Because it's hard, no? It's hard
it's
not
hard.
to operate with the budget, with the
Yes.
labor costs, you
Yeah.
know.
So-
but I was impressed. The good thing about it is you see from the 20 years ago how this operates, the evolutions of this, and by keeping one, at least you're still in the game. You're still helping the community. In fact, we're planning to buy the house in front of you that we did not pursue it.
So
right?
okay, so Leo, you were absolutely right. I pre-qualified with our friend Fred to buy the house across the street for $1 million. That $1 million is nothing, but I did the numbers and I checked the latest state legislation here in California with our wonderful governor running this. And I am telling you, brother, I thank you that we sold our properties in LA because the prices of homes are going down. I could easily get that house, no problem, for $1 million across the street from me. But I have to dump in over $250,000 in just revenue, just to beautify the place, get it licensed, and then you have to wait about a year, keep paying that the mortgage for that $1 million, and then don't get a client, and you're sitting duck for almost 1 year to get licensed.
So you suggest to our televiewers who's planning to buy an RCFE or going to the business is buy a good existing home in a very good location. Buy existing RCFE.
Yes, in a very good location, and possibly don't attach yourself to a facility that has bad reputation and all that, because you kind of have to carry that load just because of the location, But if you do it right, you monitor this and run a very tight ship like my husband and I did, you will go well in this business. I am telling you. So give you an example, okay? You were asking me why, Leo, I did not have ALW in Granada Hills.
ALW is the assisting living waivers. That's the actually matagal na yun pero nagiging popular na uli.
Yeah, and they have now CalAIM, and this is for medical elderly people that need help. The state is now paying. They're paying up to 6,000. But let me tell you the news. When ALW started, it was 3,000 a month that they were assisting. So a lot of the facility owners are not interested because I was already charging 200 a day. That's 6,000 a month. Why would I get ALW? So I did not get it. So now they're paying 6,000 a month. But why would I get that? I'm already at 9,000. You understand? So this is where that's why I didn't do what I needed to do, because I wanted private pay. But you can work smart and not always work so hard. Okay. So, I learned how to train my staff well, hands-on training, and that's very important. And this is how you really run a business.
Thank you so much for, there's so many topics pa. I'm sure we're gonna invite you for the second time because
Sure.
you have so much informations and so much teachings that we can learn from Miss Raki about life. Life,
Yes.
real estate, real talk. And I have one plus last two questions for
Sure.
you. What can you give quick advice for any RCFE people that will start the business?
You have to have a certain set of skills to enter this business. For example, you have to be comfortable talking to people because you are going to represent your company. Okay, and you have to learn this technique. And there's a lot of psychology back and forth on this. Okay, just don't sell. Listen to what these clients need and see also if this will align to your goal as a facility owner, but because you don't accept everybody. You have to be
You don't accept everybody.
no, honey. You have to accept people who align with your facility. For example, stay away from drama family. You have to also screen, because the biggest problem is not the client most of the time. It's the drama family.
And that's real talk.
That's real talk. But if you get a right client who will pay you well, but you got to understand something. If a client sees you, resonates with you, they will pay whatever you're worth because you are worth it.
There you go.
And that's what my mantra is, and I live by that.
Thank you, Miss Raki. Last one question.
Okay.
If you're gonna advise one young Raki, couple of years back, what will you advise to your young Raki?
Oh my God.
You're gonna talk to your young Raki
Okay,
right now.
if I was to go back with myself, okay,
As if you're talking to me. I'm Miss Raki
Okay,
right now,
of course.
20 years old. What will you tell me?
you need to understand money. You need to understand the flow of money and how to pay the least taxes in order to succeed with a business. And there are ways of doing it. So many ways. You understand economics, you understand money, and be mindful of insurance, for example, finances, trust, and all that, because this all correlates with business, and especially if you're the real estate. You can actually leverage real estate to get you to the next level. So understand money, be patient, and surround yourself with wonderful people. So, in other words, if you want to fly like an eagle, why walk with the turkeys?
There you have it, Miss Raki Vicente, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for having
you,
me,
Miss
Leah.
Raki.
Thank you so much.
I have one episode again, okay?
Okay.